All right, we are live on the Bagland podcast. We got a brother Solomon. He's going to be coming in pretty soon here. Let's get us some good music going.
I really gotta say that that's how people gonna get down. How we ever gonna get up?
Now, of course, I don't own the music. Fair use, fair use. I'm hearing things with YouTube where they're not allowing you to do this and they're not allowing you to do that and messing with the copyrights and stuff. And I don't know if y'all know or not, but this this Ninth Wonder God's Stepson. This was one of the coldest remix tapes that was out. Remember when I think it was Danger Mouse, he was doing some stuff with MF Doom around that time. And okay, he's calling in now. So let's get our brother in. Brother Solomon, can you hear me?
What's up? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I can hear you just fine. I was just talking about I played before you got on. I like to play a little music sometime. And welcome everybody. We've been doing this live. We've been staying pretty consistent with the lives, man. Like how we've been doing before. Like maybe about maybe a year or two ago when we started doing the lives on this Podbean thing. And then I switched over to the other podcast equipment because the quality was a little better and you could do a little more. It just takes longer to process, and it's you got to go through all this and that to But I just like the quality of it. So I got this other little temporary machine for now. But I was playing some music, so we gonna get into a lot of nitty gritty. Tonight the title is Bad Table Manners, so we'll eventually get into that too. But I was playing God's Stepson. Now, God's Stepson was a remix mixtape where Knife Wonder's a uh, extremely talented. I would say that he would be taking on. He took on the baton of what DJ Premier and guys like Alchemist have done, and you know, he is. I would like to call him a very surgical when it comes to samples. He was like Premier in that realm. Like Ninth Wonder start coming up with stuff where, in Premier, DJ Premier, man, uh, he's New York's Dr. Dre in a sense. I mean, DJ Premier is top five if not top 10 dead or alive producers. I mean, Premier, getting a Premier beat, as I was saying to you before, is like getting a Nas verse. You just ain't gonna get no beat like that. That's like, you get a Premier, you get a Dr. Dre joint. I mean, that's like, if you could even get those guys in the studio, that's a big thing for them to even sit down with you, and they want to go in the studio, and they're not just gonna send you no beat. No, no, no. That's not how guys like Quick and all them and Dr. Dre and all them, they ain't gonna send you no beat. No, we gonna have to sit down because they're putting their stamp on this. This is something where we don't just, how like producers and beat makers, they may, oh man, just send me the beat or whatever. They ain't. I don't think they doing stuff like that. I think you're gonna have to come and sit in the studio and take the direction because they're producing their song. They're not gonna let you just put some BS out. So, uh, Ninth Wonder, on the other hand, he was one of the people that was using a piece of software called Fruity Loops. Now everybody, we all know because I used to have an MPC myself. The MPC, the SP 1200. That is the Bentley of hip hop production. The SP 1200 was, it's the Bentley. You know what I'm saying? All the greats, Pete Rock, Prima, all those guys was using them MPCs or the 1200s. They like the MPC because it had what they call a certain swing. So it had a rhythm, and I think, or was it the SP 1200? I think Havoc used it too. I think Havoc created Shook One's Part 2 on that. That was one of Mobb Deep's biggest songs. He hated that song. I think to this day, he'll tell you that he can't stand that song. He's hated that song with a bloody passion. I remember he was talking about that some years ago. I listened to an interview. He's always hated that song. and he was gonna delete it out the beat machine. He hated it so bad. He hated the beat so bad. He was gonna delete it. And somebody was like, "Man, don't do it. Don't do it, bro." Because producers and some artists, there's just certain stuff they don't like. They may not like their voice. They may not like the beat, and they may get rid of it. But it's good that he didn't do that because that was one of hip hop's most coveted beats. Shook Ones was one of the biggest hip hop classics we've ever heard. That was one of their big hits too. But now Knife Wonder, he remixed Godson. Now you were asking about the lyric Godson across the belly, I prove you lost already. That was off Ether. So he named Stillmatic came out, because remember, Stillmatic was basically, it's like an ode to Illmatic, his classic. One of the greatest hip hop albums ever released on planet Earth. That came out around, I think, 2001 is when Stillmatic came out. And that kind of, because his last album Nostradamus wasn't that great. Because remember, he did Illmatic in '94. He waited 2 years to drop It Was Written, where he had that song Rule the World with Lauryn Hill, another classic. Then he dropped another, he waited another 3 years. They dropped The Firm in '97, which The Firm was pretty good, but it's crazy because The Firm had a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Dr. Dre was producing on it. I mean, they had Nature, Foxy Brown, Cormega was supposed to be a part of it. But they got into there was some internal beef with the crew. It went gold or something. It didn't do that great. But Firm Biz was supposed to be a super group, man. That was supposed to be a triple platinum album. But it didn't do that great because it was from some promotions and some creativity. It wasn't as best as what it could be. But however, eventually, he dropped I Am. And that came out in 2001 with Hate Me Now. That was a big hit with Diddy, where they had the white tiger. They had the white tiger in the video. And so eventually he came out with Stillmatic, and then that came out in 2001. So he nailed Carter on that one. And it was into a response on the Blueprint album. Now you asked earlier, was Lamar, the Lamar and Drake, was that worse than Ether? You were asking that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking.
Well, I was saying earlier, we didn't really have social media back then. So, everything that we looked at for music, we had to kind of look in the magazines, the Source magazine, Murder Dog, that came later. That was for like the underground guys. But like the Source magazine and all that kind of stuff, or BET, I mean, we got all our stuff off of TV, word of mouth, magazines. We actually had to come outside. You remember, for us to get CDs, we had to hop on the bus. We had to come outside. We weren't, you remember when we were coming up, bro, we weren't living in a world where we could just get on the internet and talk shit about somebody, and then you ain't gonna see them, and you could just be somewhere in hell, Alaska somewhere, and you could just be saying all these crazy things and all, you weren't really free. When you open your mouth, you had to say something, mean it, and you kind of had to back it up. You couldn't just be willy-nilly like now. Like, you have people right now that on the internet, and it's free. So, Second Amendment, you say whatever or not Second Amendment, but, freedom of speech. The thing is, it done got so damn free to the point where you got folks that can defy logic 100%. It's to the point where people can say anything, and they can, and I'm not much for censorship, but you have some folks, you have some idiots that probably shouldn't have no voice at all. I'm talking about, you remember back in the playground, or and this wasn't that long ago. If you came outside talking the way some of these folks talk right now, you might liable to get your ass whooped or just be ignored. Ain't nobody even gonna listen to you. But I mean, it's good for guys like us that we ain't got to be politically correct. We can say whatever we want to say. Now, on the other hand, you know, so now you have a machine that can just push the music. You get a Megan Thee Stallion, or let me think of somebody worse. Who give me an artist that's just trash where you're like, okay, how the hell did this nigga get on? Give me somebody. Give me somebody where you're like, okay, how did he get a deal?
Gibbs.
Who?
Fred Gibbs.
That's not a fair assessment because Fred comes up under the Do or Die and the Ghetto Boys, so he
Anybody
can rap.
Anybody with YNW, FBG, any one of them takes a
Okay,
pick.
yeah, like okay, so you'll have a dude and because remember at one point it got into mumbling and they stopped mumbling and then it just became like not really harmonizing but kind of like that where you're not really rapping anymore. You just you're like grunting. It's like I call it Neanderthal rap. It's like you're grunting. You're not singing. You're not harmonizing. Like remember, Bone would harmonize, Zero would harmonize. I might have to get a copyright strike because I may have to play. Let me play this. Now this is somebody that actually has that has soul. You would have. Let me find something here. Now this is when you had to rap. Hold on, let me find. Now this is off the Rakim beat.
Banging all in my trunk. Funk, I ain't never been a punk. I blow on skunk, I blow on Doja. Military minded, I'm a motherfucking soldier. Out the streets of the Ridgemont Fold. Not no bitch and see I still ain't a hoe.
They ain't even gotta rap like this no more. They could just let me find somebody. Who's somebody that just mumbles or don't. Let me find somebody. I can't even think of nobody right off the bat. But like Redneck Rambler, what's going on? Rob Van Winkle. I don't know who that is. But now, so getting back.
You don't know who is?
He said Rob Van Winkle?
That's Vanilla Ice.
Oh, oh fuck. Okay. Well, I mean, granted. All right, now Vanilla.
Ice on hard.
Yeah, Ice Baby. Yeah, Vanilla Ice. Okay, now he was rapping. You know what I'm saying? He was rapping. He wasn't really no good, but I mean, he was rapping. I mean, they tried to do the Great White Hope for him. You know what I'm saying? But he was at least rapping. I'll at least say he was rapping. Okay, now we're in a situation where you don't really gotta really even rap. So you got to keep in mind back then, folks was still rapping. Either there was no social media, so you had to at least kind of rap. Even if you didn't like the raps, you at least had to rap. And Drake is rapping and Lamar's rapping. So you're saying what was worse? Well, you got you got to think about this, man. You got a kid from Canada that grew up. Now I haven't heard them. That Boom from the Bloodhound Gang. Now that sounds like I know there were some guys from I think called Bloodhound something from Chicago or something, I don't know. But anyway, they got you got Drake. Now mind you, Drake got the machine behind him. This kid was in all kind of different little stuff or whatever. And then you got the kid from the hood. You got Lil Kendrick. That's the dude that if we was to see the Riverside when we was growing up, Drake couldn't even come around. His mom wouldn't even let him play with us. You see what I'm saying? His mom would be like, "Oh, don't go down there," and So you got some kid in I seen videos of Lamar rapping in Watts. Watts and Compton are close to each other, but he had to actually really get it out the mud. It wasn't like a big label. Top Dog wasn't no huge label at one point. I mean, they had to kind of earn it and get it out the mud. They didn't have to. They didn't have like a big machine behind them like that. And see, you going against an artist that got some bars, and Drake probably thought that, well, I'll just, I'm bigger than him. I make more money. I got the big machine. I got all the songs. I got bigger hits, but I'm a poodle trying to go against a pit bull. And a poodle's not going to be able to do much with a pit bull. That's what you're dealing with. And then now he dropped a party song. He dropped a party song that became literally one of the biggest songs in the world. You got people, it's bad when you got folks from Canada and even Israel, which was Drake's folks. You got them dancing to his song. Like, man, this song's dope. Okay, so then not only that, you got people all around the world. And then you get historical context. He started talking about Atlanta, the railroads and trains. He was talking about foundational blacks, the freedmen. That's really what he was talking about. So he's saying, okay, you ain't like us. You didn't grow up like us. You went to all these other rappers you had to get culture from, the Futures, the 21 Savages. You had to go down to Atlanta to get the game. You had to go to LA. You had to go. I didn't have to go nowhere. Compton's in my backyard. So you got the underdog going against this big machine. And you got to think, Drake never really had to battle anybody that was really, really going bar for bar. I mean, he did. I think back in the day, he did Pusha T. He ain't going to be able to do nothing with Pusha T. He ain't going to be able to do nothing with Pusha. But
no, he left that alone quick. Jay
but Pusha's
Prince,
not. Go ahead.
Jay Prince stepped in and shut that down.
Well, he probably said, because you got to think, the Clips and Pusha and all them some real street niggas, man. But at the same time,
they were,
Jay Prince, huh?
They were street niggas.
They were. Anymore. I'm saying they were. They're not anymore. But so, the thing is Drake's much, much bigger than the Clips. They legends. But what I'm saying is they, they're not moving those kind of but see what Drake did is he didn't think. You got to think Pusha be right for Kanye. He wrote all that man's a ghostwriter. He write for McDonald's and stuff like that. So you're dealing with a real lyricist. So when he pulled that out the woodwork with Drake having blackface, that just didn't look good for Drake. So folks had to kind of remind it. Yeah, but Jay Prince, he's gonna protect his interest. But when he pulled out blackface, it's kind of like, okay, nigga, because I've never seen no black man ever put on no damn blackface. So when folks seen that with Drake, it was like, and then he used the Jay-Z beat, the OJ beat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and he can start.
He was fooling people. Drake never had a relationship with his daddy. His daddy was some lame nigga that his white girl mom had a kid from, and the Jews didn't want him around. He got with his dad for street credibility later on. It's not like him and his dad grew up together, and so when he was doing blackface, he's doing that because he didn't identify as black. Why do you need to put on why would someone tell me or tell you to wear a blackface mask for Halloween? What the fuck? That don't make no sense unless you thought of yourself as a whole white boy. But Jay Prince not stepped in, what was happening with Drake here recently would have happened a few years ago. Because Pusha T would have squared him up.
Yeah, it would have got worse. Now I don't think it would have got physical or nothing. Drake ain't gonna do none of that.
It would have gotten bad for Drake lyrically, like he's taking this loss right now. But you gotta think, he bodied up. He knocked out Meek Mill.
Yeah.
Let's call it straight.
Yeah, he
needed
did.
a whole team of writers. He needed a whole team of writers to do it. It's not like he was just sitting there with his pen coming up with battle bars. He had a whole team of motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Coming up with that shit.
Yeah,
But regardless, he bodied Meek Mill.
he bodied him. He
So,
bodied Meek.
yeah,
You ever since
so he
that you
thought,
haven't heard from Meek again? Not really.
yeah, a little bit more in that prison reform, and Meek got kind of quiet when that audio came out from Diddy's bedroom.
No,
When they had
hold
the
on, wait a
matching
minute.
outfit.
Oh wait, hold on, wait a minute. Are you saying that people have alleged that 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 Sean was having freak offs with Meek? Is that what you're saying?
That's definitely been alleged. Definitely.
That is unbelievable.
By more than one source. One of the freak off um, one of the freak off people in a deposition said it was Cassie, Diddy, and a male that used to date Nicki Minaj, and he's from Philadelphia. You do the math.
Mm,
Then you see pictures of them niggas wearing matching outfits and shit, and and then on top of
matching
that,
outfits. Come on,
yeah,
hey, calling each
they
other.
was going to the award shows wearing matching outfits, and then there's an audio. I don't know if this is real or not, but there's an audio that one of the sex workers, a white dude sex worker that shot up the Trump Towers or the Trump Hotel. He's a
Mm.
white he's a white dude. Years ago, he said, "Yeah, I was Diddy's sex worker. Diddy would call me whenever he wanted to fool around." He's a white dude. You can find him online. But he said straight up, he said, "I'm gonna release this audio of Meek Mill in the bedroom
Oh,
with Diddy and me." So
oh,
why would the guy
man,
lie and tell on himself? You never know. People
right.
do anything for clout. But the thing with these Meek Mills and these kind of guys is they make a few dollars, not as much money as you think. They don't make basketball player money and football player money. So the tricking off goes a different level for them. It's nothing for Meek Mill to go broke. And for Diddy to say, Playboy, I'll sign you to a 5 album deal, you know what I'm saying? Give you an upfront, but what you gonna have to do, you know? Hey, who would have ever thought RZA, one of the realest, downest motherfuckers, would end up tricking off on a girl? What's her name? Azalea Banks. Fucking obvious thought. And then screw all his boys out of money and shit. RZA would have never
Hold
did
on,
that.
wait a minute. You talking about the legendary Riz
Yeah,
36 Chambers
the legendary RZA, man. He would have never thought he'd have went out like that.
with Azalea Banks?
Yeah, and she took him for his bread and called the
Is
police
that
on
that
him and shit.
loudmouth chick that's always she's like a little ratchet activist, always talking shit, don't never really drop no good music. Are you talking about her?
Yeah, her.
Oh my god, hold on. That's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
so one bad decision, and then now look, now he done sold all the Wu Tang shit and ain't give them niggas a cut, and all that. That would have never. That's not how they rolled.
He went and
But
got a
that just
Remy
goes to
Ma
tell you.
from Harlem.
That just goes to tell you that one mistake, can cause you to do some shit. Like I said, Diddy could have just called one, oh nigga, you in debt, you know what I'm saying, Playboy, get you a 5 album deal, you know what I'm saying, and then you know what you gotta do. There's some truth to it. And then Meek Mill was like, anybody that called me gay, I'm putting hands on them. It's like, man, get the fuck up. But one thing Meek Mill hasn't done is dropped any music that's worth a fuck since Drake bodied him.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never really been a fan of Meek. I've always thought he was mediocre and stuff. I mean, I will say that Ross Maybach music, that man had a crew. I remember that song he did with Nipsey Hussle was incredible. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
Rick Ross,
Ross always picks great crispy production, especially when he had Andre 3000. That took the cake. That might have been the best feature in 25 years, bro. Andre killed that.
No, Roseanne
Now,
is a talented rapper and a good shit talker.
and the thing is, like, so I think you got to think once he caught that hit, Drake's stock went down. Universal was kind of like, okay, yeah, we Jewish, but nigga, money
What?
talks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're going viral. They probably was making off of Not Like Us, Universal was probably making 2 million a day when it was hot.
Maybe,
Off
bro.
of
Seriously, and
streams
it's still, and he's
and
and
fuck who's
Lamar is
Drake?
still.
Fuck Drake. We making $2 million a day off this motherfucker. Fuck Drake. That's what they was
Lamar
thinking.
Lamar is still and this is the first time in hip hop history that he's still number one. His album has been number one since it dropped.
It's
Now
gonna
you
be
got to
number
think,
one. The singles are number one too. It's not just Not Like Us. I think he
yeah,
dropped another single.
yeah, especially like, and there's another one. You got to think, everybody loves Luther, bro. There ain't nobody in the world you could get a backwood clan member racist. They don't think they ain't listen to no Luther. Oh, they listen to some Luther Vandross. Everybody loves Luther. So when he did that remix with SZA, that was smart for her to take her on tour. She was happy about that too. They just cleared like 300 million on that tour. They like 55,000 people each arena. They killing it. And the thing
I was
is
outside
so
the Target Center that Saturday night, man. I just seen a sea of white
right.
people.
So you don't typically see someone that's still keeping lyrics in the game to that degree. You still have people that want to hear bars. So you got this kid from Compton that ain't never had nothing. They grew up with the Pipe Rules and rapped his way into, because it took a while. You got to think he's been doing this for a minute. He took a while. It took a long time. I had his first album called Section 80. It was only like a 10-song EP or whatever like that. When I first heard him, I said, okay, who's this kid? And I said, okay, he might be all right. And then when I heard that Money Trees, that's my favorite one with J-Rock. That's another person we got to get on another. J-Rock is extremely underrated. Now, I will get into him in a minute. But now, let's go back. Now, you asked what was bigger. This was this generation's Ether. This man's on a Super Bowl. So you have foundational blacks with Grace Wisher's colors. Now, for people don't know who really created that flag. That was a black free woman. She wasn't a slave that created that flag. You got so America's kind of liking this a little bit. They're like, all right, we got red, white, and blue on the head because this is like Canada versus US. That's how people are supporting it. So you got some people that may have not liked it or whatever. But the thing is, this is the most watched Super Bowl. People watch this more than with Snoop and Dr. Dre. You see what I'm saying? So this is the most watched Super Bowl. So you got to think, this is this man's manhood and credibility on the line, that you're a culture vulture. He said, you used to call us some slaves. I think there was like some audio or something out where Drake made a statement talking about black Americans or black folks are slaves or something. It was something that, so he's just demolishing him left and right. And it's a party song. This ain't a song. The average battle rap song is not a feel-good song. It's left and right jabs. You're bloodied. You're bruising. You know what I'm saying? It's not a feel-good song. We at war. He took a war song and made it a hit. That don't happen. They don't. Ether wasn't something that they were playing in the club like a Little John song or a Ying Yang Twins song like that. You remember when Ether came out, when the Ying Yang Twins and Lil Jon and Crunk and stuff, they're not really going to play Ether in the club like that. You'd have to go to like a hip-hop club like the Caboose or something where they have like a little hip-hop night, or they're not playing that. But they could play Not Like Us anywhere. Man, I seen 90-year-old white women, man, at the damn nursing home, probably 2 years away from Meet They Maker, listening to Not Like Us. Rocking out with their wheelchairs and they little walkers and stuff. I mean, you literally had the whole planet rocking out to Not Like Us. Imagine if you're somebody like Drake and you some lame ass little corny little mixed kid, and this ghetto Negro is at the top of the world doing more than you, and he's just keeping it hip hop. Railroads and trains, Atlanta is the Mecca. He starts talking about Black American freedmen history. He's not even just dissing you. He's getting into Black American freedmen history. He said, yeah, the railroads and trains. Atlanta is the Mecca. You see what I'm saying? Like he's hitting you with bars, and then now he's dissing you at the same time. He's saying, he's letting folks know, hey, because you got to understand, if you look at Black history and you look at Atlanta's one of the top cities. It's been being gentrified to hell now too, but it's still one of the top cities. You got to think, a lot of artists that don't want to go to LA, they go to Atlanta. If you want to get into the hip hop game, you're doing two things. You ain't going to New York. New York ain't really doing nothing. They still trying to follow behind Chicago doing drill rap. New York is done. I'm just going to be honest. The only people in New York that's holding up the torch is Benny the Butcher and Griselda. They keeping it real New York. Everybody else wants to sound like the South or sound like Chicago. So you going one of two places to get a deal. You going to LA, because LA still got it, and you going to the South. You going to Atlanta. Everybody goes to Atlanta. And do you know how they break records in Atlanta? I'm going to tell you how they break records in Atlanta, in the strip club. If your record ain't being played in the strip club, you ain't shit. That's how it works in Atlanta. So if you a dope boy, you like Shorty Low or T.I. or Gucci Mane or Jeezy, it's all about the money. You a dope boy, you somebody in the streets, you ain't no lame, you a real street nigga, you got a little respect and some money, you go to the strip clubs and you get a stripper and the DJ your CD. If she could dance to it, if they could twerk and shake their ass to it, oh, you got a hit. That's how Atlanta works. You ain't sitting out somewhere talking about, hey man, you want to hear my CD, like how dudes was doing up here. They running around trying to rap to you and all that type, that old 1992 shit. That ain't happening. Ain't nobody give a damn about that. Nigga, do you got a hit? Do the streets respect it? That's how it works. That's how it works in Atlanta. And in order to get in the rap game, you must come through the South. You must go through the descendants of the slaves, or you're not getting on. You have to go through Atlanta. I'm talking about everybody, even New Yorkers. You have to go through the Southern sound. It brought it back to where music started. Blues, country, rock and roll's blues. Made that Robert Johnson, Lil Walter, Rosetta Thorpe, Muddy Waters. You know who made blues. Niggas made blues. That's undisputable. Country too. And they even say, if you even look in the bluegrass, there's some niggas that done made some of that shit too. So when you look at American history, it started in the South. Remember, they used to call blues, or they used to call rock and roll nigger music. They called it race music. They didn't want to play it on the records. It was like, it was music that it was like non-secular or secular, whatever. They didn't, it's devil music and this, that, and the third, but they called it nigger music. That's what they called it. It was called race music. They cleaned it up a little bit. So you get a white dude that if he says the N-word music, just to be a more palatable, he'll just say race music. But then once Elvis started listening to it, he went to a church around some niggas. Wasn't Johnson Crossroads story? That's in Mississippi. Yes, sir. Robert Johnson, that happened in Mississippi. So the Delta blues music, American music started in the South. American music started in the South. The Delta, that's really where it came from. If you watch the movie Sinners, it breaks that down. But Robert Johnson, they say he made a deal with the devil or whatever. But you had a lot of black folks that were just naturally talented. They didn't take any classical training, but they could play classical notes. They just got on that guitar and just got to it. Got on that harmonica and stuff like that. So it was in what they call, not even the Chitlin circuit at that time. That was in juke joints. Because remember, blacks couldn't really, they were subjugated in the South. If you was black, man, you ain't had no damn rights. That's why whenever they say it was Juneteenth and all that, well, they were free, they wasn't, that we still ain't free. Man, they wasn't free. They was just one step away from the chain. They had to kind of move and shake under white society. So they figured, well, look, we ain't got much. We on the sharecrop. Let's go out and start a juke joint, maybe, 10, 20 miles out of town. That way they ain't have to worry about the white supremacists messing with them or doing stuff to them or whatever. They're like, okay, it ain't much, but we gonna get some moonshine and we gonna play the blues. So the blues was the blues. Like, it wasn't no happy shit. It was, hey man, I got to deal with the Klan. I ain't able to pay my rent. I'm sharecropping. You know what I'm saying? Like, your life. This wasn't no happy story. That's what the blues is. Pain. That's all blues is pain and sadness. That's all it's really about. But then Chess Records and some white guys came down there, and some Jewish guys came down there and said, hey, what the fuck is this? Oh, hell. We ain't never heard no shit like this before. And eventually, when during the migration, when black folks went up north to Chicago, they threw the amplifier on it. I think it was Michigan Avenue or whatever that was. So that was the thing. They put the amplifier up because I believe it was a lot of either Polish or Jewish business people. They would let the black folks stand outside, and people would be coming in shopping and everything. But they would, if you look up, I think it's Michigan Street, or it's a very, very prominent avenue even to this day where everything popped. Chicago blues started in Mississippi, but they put the twang by having an amplifier, so now it's electric blues. And it was Muddy Waters and all of them, and Lil Walter, Howlin' Wolf. These were the architects of the blues, and it was maybe about 5 or 6 others. But Chicago blues, the pioneers of that would have been Muddy Waters. So my point is, you're coming from a lineage of that. Lamar is coming from Southern lineage. So he's got that soul. It's in his blood. Drake ain't got it. And you're standing in front of the whole damn Super Bowl, in front of the whole world, where everybody's watching you just get lit up with the number one song in the world. So he goes back to Universal like, hey, I need $3 billion. You need to invest back into me. And they tell him, nigga, no. Do you see the charts? You're getting creamed. Yeah, you're still Drake. You're big. But y'all done went back and forth a couple times. He's creaming you every time. Drake kind of held his own for a little bit. He had some of the diss songs going back and forth. But I mean, this dude, just this Not Like Us is creaming you. I mean, they had screenshots that was coming out where the producers Drake's producer was like, Mustard. I think Mustard who made Not Like Us? I think it was Mustard. Who made Not Like Us? I think it was Mustard. Let me see who made it. I think it was DJ Mustard. Let me see. It was Mustard.
So, 100%. Mustard on the beat.
So now let's dig into the production. It was hyphy influenced. Now Soundwave and Sean Momberger, they helped with some of the beat too, but it's primarily Mustard. Now, if you look at that song, now keep in mind, the song was released when? What was the song released on?
Was it about a year ago?
So it was released on May 4th. And then it was released May 4th, 2024.
Oh, 2024.
Yeah, 2024. That's when it was the song was released. But then
over a year ago.
Over a year ago. But then the video, when did the video get released on? It got released on the 4th, American Independence Day. Now, we got to look at this in context. Why was that released on the 4th? Because Lamar probably figured, all right, look, I'm going to double down on this to let you know you ain't from this country. You don't have the roots that I have. So while I'm giving you these bars in this historical context from the Freedmen, and if you look at the video, and if you watch it a couple times, that video and then that other video, the one where he talks about Squabble Up, they show Squabble Up, and what he does with Squabble Up, that's another kind of hyphy kind of beat. Well, what does hyphy come from? The Bay. Oakland. So what he's doing is he's going back to all the roots of California. You see what I'm saying? He's going back to the roots of California. So he's showing the Bay some love. Now he's from the South. He's from South, he's from Southern California. and Northern and Southern California is night and day. But he's showing love to the Bay. If you listen to a lot of Mustard's beats, you could tell they sound very, very Bay Area oriented. They use what I call the mob sound. The mob sound was popularized by like Mac Mall, E40. Too Short might have used it a little bit, but mainly E40 used what they call the mob sound. That mob sound. It's a slow, deep funk. You see what I'm saying? And Southern California, they have the funk too, of course. Naturally, of course. But, so when he tried to do this lawsuit, Universal was like, have you checked the charts? And then he decided that he wanted to try to sue them. And this is what I think they told him. I think they told him, like, hey, we're Jewish. We don't do that. We don't do that. You better calm down before you end up in a trunk somewhere. I bet they sat that nigga down and said, hey, you mixed half-breed motherfucker, you better get yourself together. You don't really hear him talking about it too much. But if you really want to get down to the Universal Music Group, let's look at the owners. All right, the key people is Lucian Grange and Sherry Lansing. Now, Lucian Grange, where'd he grow up? North London, grew up in a Jewish family. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying the facts. Now, I'm quite sure that Sir Lucian Charles Grange and Sherry Lansing, which is the chairwoman, now she was born in Chicago, Illinois, to Margaret Hyman and real estate investor David Dahl. Her mother fled from Nazi Germany in 1937 at the age of 17. Somebody called Drake and said, you better calm your black ass down. You ain't that white. Yeah, you better calm your ass down. We don't do that. You ain't suing nothing. You got to think, man, Universal Records, their revenue's $11 billion. As you said, who the fuck is Drake? You ain't gonna sue us talking about we done gave him a leg up. Nigga, we have pushed and pushed and pushed you. If you look at Drake's deals, Drake has had nothing but promotion. He's had nothing but promotion. So he's had the machine, but his stock went down and he wants a new deal. And they wasn't gonna give it to him. It says in 2018, he was reportedly responsible for 5% of Toronto's $8 billion annual tourism income. So he's the man. He's making Canada money. So that not like us. And maybe they could have just cooked it up. These record labels do all kind of stuff. Maybe they said, hey, y'all need to start beefing. I don't know. But it was good for hip hop and it was good for the money. They say he's among the world's best artists, selling 170 million records units sold. Now, some of that's streaming, but that's nonetheless 5 Grammys, 39 Billboard Awards. Drake got it. So now you a dude like this, and then you coming against this ghetto Negro in Compton, and they never had nothing. So that plays on his psyche. You got to think when he's thinking about Not Like Us. Every time they play it, he's sitting there probably thinking about it like, man, I used to have blackface. He's thinking about Pusha T. He's thinking about every licking that he done got from another rapper that got more bars than him. So, yeah, man. I mean, he's that. Back to your question. That might have been worse. It might have been a little worse than for Ether. Maybe it did. That might have been because this Ether didn't touch the whole planet. It probably touched the UK and, different places, the hip hop heads and all that, maybe Switzerland and, but I mean, you got people damn near probably in Papua New Guinea. I done seen people in tribes. I done seen like global tribes dancing to that song on TikTok. That man can't go anywhere. And if he hates the song, he'll probably learn to love it. You ever listen to a song where you like, man, this song is trash. Why do I keep singing to it? He probably got to the point where he's, he go to pump gas, or he hears it all the time. So that, he could have took it personal. If this wasn't no setup, he could have took it personal.
Man, this wasn't no setup. You ain't finna do that to your own career. Like career suicide.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not
yeah,
doing that to your own career. But I don't think I think he thought this would be on some Meek Mill shit.
I'm gonna just push him around. This will be easy.
Yeah, some white boy writers in a room and a couple brothers in a room, they're not gonna be able to beat somebody authentic and really from that lifestyle.
No, they're
They're
not.
not gonna be able to do that. And he bit off more than he can chew, and I think
Because
he'd be the first person to admit to that. I think if he could do things all over again, I don't think he'd have bit off that apple. I think he'd have left that alone.
Now we go to the next subject. Now, you had a lot to say about our good brother. Okay, he said I completely skipped watching the Super Bowl. What was the deal with the tennis player duffling the? Okay, so all right, the tennis player. She that's Rambler asking me a question. So the tennis player, she's from Compton too. Venus and Serena, they like the best tennis players in the world. They've been kicking ass for a long time, but they're a little older now. I don't know if I think they still play, but they're a little older now. So now that player, Venus, Venus or Serena, one of them. She used to, I think, date Drake.
The girl Drake that was dancing, Serena.
Yeah. Her sister did get killed. They from Compton. They from the hood too.
No, so Serena and Venus, they're both alive. They might have another sister that got killed.
Yeah, her sister. Yeah, her sister. Yeah,
the one you're talking about is Serena Williams.
Yeah, they're both alive and well, but they did have like a sister or a family member that got killed in Compton. So now Drake used to date one of them, and I think he used to like treat her bad.
The girl that was in the halftime of the Super Bowl, Serena.
Yeah, so basically, now if you look at the layers of this, we peel that back. They're both from Compton. Drake is not from America, right? So that's the extra piece. So Lamar basically said, look, I want you to pretty much shake your ass towards this nigga. This is like the ultimate disrespect. I want you to go out there, do a little crip walk, or to do what you do. So now it's stepping on his grave even more. Like, okay, I got your ex, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I got your ex. And I guess she felt disrespected, or Drake, maybe Drake might have, because Drake's arrogant. He's arrogant. So maybe they might have had something going on where she basically, for all we know, he might have said, hey, he could have called her some crazy shit like, oh, I don't want to fuck with you no more, you little monkey, or some shit. I can see him saying some shit like that. He probably said something crazy when they broke up. He probably pulled, some of the white girls that you date, so after a while, they get mad at you and they're like, hey, yeah, you monkey ass nigga. You like, damn, you've been thinking this the whole time. Damn. You know what I'm saying? It might have been something like that. So he brought her out basically to tap on his grave. Now, this is a legendary tennis person, or athlete. So it wasn't like he just got some hood rat somewhere that, that was an OnlyFans chick. He went and got an actual somebody. So that made it, even worse for him. And then they came out with Mustard. That beat that he made, I think it was, I don't know if it was a Superman sample or what that sample was, but he did that, they, to this day, that Mustard, we said Mustard, that song is in tons of football games, and that's like a brass song. That song is a song where you really bring out the college football, the band. That's a very band-centric production. So you got to think Drake, as big as Drake is, he can't get the Super Bowl jumping like that. He can't get it jumping like that. So that's what that was. That was because you got to think everything was in strategy. If you look at when the video was releasing July 4th, well, what was black folks doing in July 4th in 1776? They was picking cotton. Who was the first person that got killed in the Revolutionary War? A black man, Crispus Attucks. So now what he's doing, that's symbolic to say, hey, if folks try to say, well, we're not patriotic, well, black Americans are the most patriotic people on the face of the earth. The first person that died in the American Revolution was a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think he's not playing checkers. He's thinking this well overthrew on every aspect from the video. Okay, now let's look at the red, white, and blue. They pissed at Beyonce about that because she's doing the black cowboy thing and the Buffalo Soldiers, and you're having a lot of foreign blacks that's on the internet complaining about Beyonce because she's showing reverence and history to her foundational Black American heritage, good or bad. She's saying, okay, this is our history. This is what we've done to this country, and I'm showcasing that. So on a lot of her shows, I've been hearing that she's been showing like black cowboys and what they call it, line dancing and all this, all this Black American history shit. She's been showing a lot of that, so some folks they was mad at, oh, she's doing country now and all that kind of stuff. We talking about Black American music. She's getting back to her roots. And if you look on the internet even today, because the news ain't nothing, it's all about the internet now. The news ain't shit. Ain't nobody watching the news. Ain't nobody watching TV. But if you really, there's a lot of propaganda and lies and stuff like that too on there. But you could really see, you go down to these places, Mississippi, Texas, and all that, and you got black folks down there line dancing. We didn't think there was black cowboys when we was a kid. You remember we used to see what's the white guy name? Clint Eastwood. Or who's the other guy? Was it Bonanza? Or was it was some? We used to watch those westerns, and a lot of those westerns, them stories come from black cowboys, bro. A lot of those westerns and stuff come from black cowboys and share. People like what's his name? Let me pull him up. And there's a dude named Isaiah Washington that just did Walter Moses Burton, the first black sheriff in the United States. Fort Bend, Texas, 1869, following the Civil War Reconstruction. He was a Texas state senator. Bass Reeves, yes, sir, redneck rambler. Bass Reeves. That was a bad motherfucker. Bass Reeves was a bad motherfucker. They got this one dude, Isaiah Washington. He made a movie with Bass Reeves. Now, they got this other Bass Reeves. I ain't rocking with it, but they got this one. It's a mini-series. And they specifically, they went out of their way, and he's a good actor. The David Oyelowo, he's a good actor. He's a good actor, but they went out of their way. Paramount Plus went out of their way to not get a black American brother to play that role. They did that to undermine Isaiah Washington's movie, because Isaiah Washington had a movie about Bass Reeves. And he was speaking about this stuff. And it's called Corsicana. That's a damn good movie. Now, Isaiah Washington, he jumped off the plantation in Hollywood. He basically said, hey, I'm not going to tap dance for you motherfuckers. That's the kind of shit. He was born and raised in Texas. Yeah. Yeah, see, yeah, he knows. Bass Reeves wasn't nothing to be played with. First noted black deputy U.S. Marshal. He was tracking outlaws in Corsicana, Texas. Now, the media tried to ignore this. I paid for it on Amazon. I wish it was on DVD. I tweeted Isaiah Washington one day like, man, nigga, you need to get this shit on DVD. Because that Corsicana was very underrated. It came out in 2022. To me, that was an excellent movie. I really liked that movie. And the film features the city Corsicana, Texas. You see what I'm saying? That was a real good film. You know, but and guess who you had in there? They had Stacey Dash. They had your boy's cousin up in there. You know, her first cousin is Dame. You know that?
Yeah, Stacey Dash. Yeah, I know that.
Man, Stacey blew it, bro. Man, Stacey was one of the baddest little high yellow broads. Stacey could have had any rich nigga. She could have went and got her a Denzel. She could have. I don't know what she was thinking. Cause you remember how fine we used to think Stacey Dash was when she was in Clueless and all that in '95. Man, motherfuckers would break your neck for a Stacey. I can't imagine how it was if I can't imagine. Man, do you know that there used to be stories, about Lil Kim? You remember that hardcore album Lil Kim that came out in '96?
Yeah.
Do you know in Rikers Island that people was getting killed over that cover?
Man.
It was dudes getting stabbed over that shit. In Rikers Island in New York prisons, it was folks getting laid out, getting their face blown out with razor blades and stuff like that over that Lil Kim hardcore. If you had that Lil Kim hardcore front CD, because back in the day in Rikers Island, you come in with your jewels and your watch and stuff. You see what I'm saying? You come in off the streets regular. They didn't have PayPal and all that kind of stuff, or whatever like that. In Rikers Island, you come in with your regular clothes. You see what I'm saying? So folks might have got a CD. You pay a guard a couple dollars. The guards, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn if you live or die up in there. So they like, man, just give me $5. I'll get this Stacey Dash poster up in there. Man, dudes was losing their life over that Lil Kim stuff. This is documented, bro. You can pull this up on the internet. Niggas was getting killed over that shit. Getting sliced, stabbed, getting sent to the infirmary over that Lil Kim album, that hardcore, because she's posing. Her whole crack out. I mean, folks, I remember when that shit came out. Folks went crazy over that. They used to love Lil Kim. In jail, yeah, Lil Kim gets you stabbed. Because ain't no women in there. Unless you knock up a guard or something, ain't no women up in there. But I think, let's get right to it, man. You owe Dame Dash an apology immediately. Because you try to make it seem as if Dame wasn't the architect of, he really held it down for Rockefeller, man. And the thing is, Dame, let's pull up this audio. See, you made me apologize to Cuban Link. I'm gonna apologize again. Cuban Link, man, was telling us the truth about Joe for years. Cuban Link was telling us about Don Cartagena for years, man. And we used to think he was just a bitter ass terror squad, you know what I'm saying? Remember, Cuban went off to get some nice little independent deals later on. Let's find this, man. Yeah, you did Dame real wrong, man. You were talking about, he was broke and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, give him a chance, man.
Nigga's broke and fronts like he's a boss and this and that. What I would apologize to him for is I didn't know that when he was involved, he's not much of a businessman, but what I seen was he wasn't doing what Diddy was doing. Befriending these artists and then getting them to sign these fucked up deals that he knows are fucked up. He wasn't doing that. He was trying to empower the artists so they could do their own thing. So in that sense, I give him a tremendous amount of credit. But when he's on YouTube talking about this boss shit, this and that, he also needs to understand he owes millions of dollars in child support. Every other day you pick up Google and you hear about him getting repoed or sued or somebody.
Is that true propaganda? Yeah. Are they just trying to put on the black man's back?
Yeah. Keep looking. Go check the records yourself. It's well documented. That nigga's broke. He was on a live talking shit about somebody and all his teeth fell out of his mouth, his false teeth. So, you know what I mean? Like, and this is something that I'm taking a quote from Irv Gotti before he passed away. He was talking to Cameron, and this is what he told Cameron. He's like, Cam, you got to tell your boy that when he's doing good, what he says makes sense. But when he's owing everybody in the world and he's clearly broke and looks all hurting and shit, it doesn't make sense for him to still talk that shit. And I'll go back to a Pacific interview he did with your favorite guy, DJ Envy. As much as I
I
don't
don't
really
like
care
Envy.
for Envy, I don't care for Envy either, but Envy could have chopped him up. Because he was like, you got a boss. You did this. I was like, nigga, you're broke. Shut the fuck up.
Was he broke then though? See,
Yeah, he's been broke, nigga, since he got bounced with Jay-Z. Let's be real about it. He ain't been, and you could see not just he's gotten older, but you could like look at Dame Dash, pictures of Dame Dash from when Rockefeller was at its height. And then look at him now. I know it's been a couple years, but he's aged a lot. Like my man looks like he's about in the 70s. Then you look at Cameron. Cameron hasn't aged that much, you know. And if I'm
he got
Jay-Z,
money.
yeah, well, okay then, because he knows what he's doing. If you can't call yourself a great businessman and you're bankrupt, those two things don't go together. You can't call yourself a great hustler and you're in prison. The great hustler is the guy that never gets caught. The great businessman doesn't fall off or falls off and gets back on, but doesn't fall off, keep falling off, and keep falling off. So my respect for Dame, and if Dame Dash want to say, don't be like me and let your arrogance get in the way of billions of dollars, as much as I gave Dame Dash his respect for not being someone who's trying to beat his artist and looking at Jay-Z as he is kind of a shady dude, but the one thing I got to agree with Jay-Z on is he couldn't have grown doing business with that dude. He couldn't have, it was a plateau because regardless of anything, there's, especially in today's music, you're going to go through Jews to get to the top. They got to like you. They like Jay-Z, and he gives them credibility that they need. So he's looking at Dame Dash like, these are the moves I want to go to, and I can't go there with you. You just fucking, and as much as Cameron was selling a lot of records, and he was on fire at that time, he even had an album called Confessions of Fire that you love.
Well, that came out in 2002. That sold, that one sold, yeah, that one went gold, but that was before The Rock.
The thing with Cam was, at that time, Cam was very immature. At that time, I think. Now, I think he could do something like that. Back then, Cam was immature, and Beanie Siegel had no business being a CEO of anything. He did not have a business plan.
Wait a minute. Well, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. You're talking. All right. Wait. Now, remember we were talking. Let's pull up this audio because Carter has a history of stealing songs, and he couldn't get Cam. Cam was coming from a Harlem ball. You got they from Harlem, bro. You ain't gonna rip them niggas off. You ain't gonna rip them off like that. You know what I'm saying? They about their money. He couldn't do you because okay, now Siegel, I'm gonna put some respect on his name. Siegel should kind of be where Cam is right now. That man should have a top-notch podcast. He should have $1 million book deal. You know what I'm saying? Siegel, to me, I like Siegel over Jay because he was gutter.
I like him too.
You know, and I felt he was real. Siegel looked like the type of dude where if State Property was still going, because it was doing well. I didn't know the State Property clothes were selling more than Rockefeller at one point. We liked State Property back then. And you like, and I'm going to tell you who you used to like, which I used to always feel was mediocre. You used to always talk about Petey Crack. And I used to think Petey Crack was trash.
One for Petey Crack. You know? That was a big hit.
Album. That was a big hit on
the album, but Jay-Z cut it off. And told him, sat him down, and when Petey Crack said, "What's up? What's up with my budget? What kind of budget do I for this album?" He said, "You got no budget." He said, "Petey, you dropped the ball. It was one for Petey Crack. Now it's none for Petey Crack."
Oh,
that was Jay-Z.
He didn't say that.
Yes, he did. According to Petey Crack, you can go look at Petey Crack and DJ Vlad interview.
He said that he said it in those terms.
Yeah, he said he came into his office and he said, "What's up with the album? What's up with my budget? What kind of budget do I got?" And he was like, "You ain't got no budget." I don't know. Petey Crack probably did something that he's not saying because Jay-Z said you dropped the ball. There is no budget. You dropped the ball. It was one for PD Crack. It's none for PD Crack. So PD probably didn't show up for a photo shoot. Probably cursed somebody out. And Jay-Z's not doing that. That was over. That nigger shit, he was done with that.
Let me pull this up because this is crazy. Hold on.
Everybody in the studio. I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? And Jay comes in and he like, yo, what's that shit, man? I was like, yo, this new shit I did, man. Yo, so I told the engineer, yo, play that shit for Jay. He turned it on and my verse went on and shit. Jay like, that's how that game I'm from Philly. Go by the name P. Frizzy man. Millie used to be with y'all. Frizzy and I like rolling on twins. And then Cam part come on since I was 11 years old, dog. I had birds and bees, scissor, please. Jay tapped the engineer like, yo, stop that for a second. Like, yo, delete that shit.
Oh,
like,
man.
The record just stopped like, I'm like, what?
Was this Young Guru?
Nah, it
Someone
was
else?
a kid named Shane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jay-Z stopped the record.
Stopped the record and told him to delete that shit. He's like, yo, take that. He's like, yo, take that off, man. And then just walked away.
Oh, man.
That was Cam's rebuttal. But you also got to take into account that Cam had a lot of leverage because Cam had sold a lot of records up to that
Yeah,
point.
he did.
But he could afford to say, fuck you, Jay-Z. None of them other Emilio Sparks. Emilio Sparks, that would have been his hit song right there.
All right, this is where I'm going to chop you up at. I'm going to chop you up. I mean, you're going to get a chance to chop me up in a minute. Now, you know I got the artificial intelligence now. So are you going to tap out or am I going to go into the dirt? Because I got this little program. I got this little engineering program, and it's going to pull up the receipts. Now, you made some claims. So you made some claims that's kind of questionable here, sir.
Like what?
I've known you a long time. I love you like a brother, but you tried to make it seem as if, Cam wasn't doing. He needed the rock or something. Oh, he wasn't a boss. He wasn't moving records. It was Jimmy. Jimmy didn't come out till 2004 when he finally got a deal independent.
No, you misquoted me. I said him worrying about holding down Cam and not worried about his own solo career is why all that shit happened. That's why now you see Jim Jones sternly defending his image. And he knows he wasted all that time with them bird-ass niggas, man. Fucking bird-ass Cameron. Cameron is an idiot. And he's got
How do you waste time? Look, Cam
holding this nigga down, and then they don't even drop an album for Jim.
Nobody want to hear Jim.
Why is Jim selling right now then?
He's selling. He went independent. He had We Fly High. He started selling. Look, he started getting hits when he was around Max B. Max B was writing those hits. He was like, basically Jim Jones was like Drake. Max B was the one. You got to think. Look what happened with Purple City Bird Gang. When he brought out the Bird Gang and all them dudes, he had all them hits. He ain't had a platinum hit since Max B left. Max B was the one that was writing all them hits, but that's why Max B left, because he tried to do the same thing that Jay-Z was doing to folks. And they fell out. Max B had the tri-state. When people were looking at Bird Gang, they weren't looking at Jimmy. I mean, yeah, from Dipset, but they were looking at Big Avail. Max B had them hits. Max B had them hits. We Fly High, he wrote that. He wrote a lot of them hits over there. That's why they fell out. Because basically he was trying to give, and I'm going to try not to laugh, but it is a little funny. Max B, he was trying to get that nigga like 500 a show. He was trying to give Max B like 500 to 1,000 a show and take it 10,000. But look, let me pull this shit up.
Who the fuck is Max B? Who is he?
What?
I don't even know who this dude is.
Nigga, please. Man, Max B, he would have been, he was from Harlem. Remember, it was Max B, it was Stack Bundles. He was from Harlem. Put it like this. Okay, you remember when you asked me, where would DMX be if he was still alive? If Max B, and he's coming home soon, but if Max B didn't get those 75 years, Because when he left Jim Jones, something happened or whatever. But you know, he went to prison. Man, if Max B was out, bro, Max B would probably be where. Let me give you somebody. He wouldn't be Drake or Lamar. Max B would be like Kevin Gates, damn near. He'd be in the Kevin Gates, maybe close to, yeah, he'd be kind of around that area. Max B would be like the Kevin Gates of New York, man. Because he had the tri-state. See, I mean, you weren't really listening to it around that time, probably because you were, you know, I don't know. I don't think you was really checking out the underground in New York. You know how I am. I kept up with that shit because I used to sell mixtapes. So I had to know who was hot. Max B was, when you got to think, when Dipset had their run in the streets as far as mixtapes, because now it's a mixtape game. When they got signed with The Rock, after that, Max B had New York and the tri-states. Not just New York, but the tri-states. He had that East Coast. Max B had that East Coast. Wiz Khalifa, as big as he was, Wiz Khalifa was a superstar. He came up off under Max B. I'm talking about far as inspiration. So Max B, he had his mixtape debut. He was signed with Jim Jones in the Bird Gang in 2006. They parted ways in 2009. And a lot of people that made his beats was Dame Grease. And that's when French Montana started coming because of his association with Max B. French Montana was doing a lot of the DVDs. He had a very, very popular DVD series called the Coke Wave mixtape. And then he had like another one called the Come Up or something like that. I'm talking about, this was, you remember Smack DVDs and stuff? French Montana couldn't rap that well, but he had Max B around him, and they collaborated with the Coke Wave series. French can't rap for shit. But what I'm saying is Dame Grease. Now, you want to talk about DMX? Dame Grease did a lot of production for Bad Boy, The Lox, and the Rough Riders. He was a Rough Rider. He was the primary music producer for It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Dame Grease from Harlem too. You think Dame Grease gonna mess with a weak ass nigga? Dame Grease produced a lot of that Money, Power, Respect, and We'll Always Love You, Big Papa. You remember that song? Dame Grease did that. He also did the score for Steven Seagal's DMX blockbuster Exit Wounds. I know you've seen Exit Wounds. That was a good movie. You were asking me, would DMX still, would he be big right now? Like if he was off the dope and he was still alive and all that. And he would have been all over those movies. DMX had a lot of movies. Cradle to the Grave with Jet Li. Never Die Alone. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of shit, man. Dame Grease was working on some of those scores. So I'm just kind of letting you know, Max B wasn't no slouch, bro. Harlem World, Mace, he did that. Dame Grease did Harlem World. He did production on Harlem World. He did 5 or 6 songs. You said No Sunshine. Yep. He did damn near all of DMX's first album. Fucking with D, Look Through My Eyes, Get At Me Dog, Let Me Fly, Damien. Man, that It's Dark and Hell is Hot was a fucking classic. I liked it because it was dark. It was grimy. That shit reminded me of some Child's Play shit. That's why I liked it. He did Body in the Trunk with Nori, featuring Nas. That's one of your favorite albums. You remember that NORE album? That was one of your favorite albums, bro.
That was a great album.
That was a classic. That was
Nori
a classic.
The
Niggas on the Run Eating. Trackmasters, LES, Dame Grease, Clue, Easy LP, Duro, Marley Marl. The legendary Marley Marl from Queensbridge. One of the best producers to ever do it. Swiss Beats, Neptunes. That was their first hit.
Marley Marl. Oh, no. That's a snitch, bro.
No. You thinking about Marley Marl. You think about that Arab dude. No, I'm talking about Marley Marl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. This is around the ilks of RZA, Primo, Madlib, and Pete Rock. He did stuff on Eric B and Rakim. Yeah, this ain't the same dude. This ain't no little, yeah. No. Yeah, no, this dude did stuff for Roxanne Shante, MC Shan, Cool G Rap, Heavy D and the Boys, Big Daddy Kane, Biz Marquee. You know what I'm saying? Craig G, MC Light, Tragedy Gaddafi, Master Ace, LL Cool J. He did the whole damn Mama Said Knock You Out album damn near. Force MDs, Bev Biv DeVoe, TLC, In Vogue, Lords of the Underground. You know what I'm saying? Ed Lover.
Body of work.
Come on, man. Even Fat Joe. Even Fat Joe's lying ass. Capone Noriega. He did that LA Kuwait mix with Mobb Deep and because if you said Truth to Power to Marley Marl, you could hear when Capone or Nori, I think it was Capone. No, it was Tragedy. I think it was Tragedy. They had Mobb Deep. It was LA, big city. Man, let me play that shit, man. Let me play that. I might get a copyright strike, but hell, let me play that. LA remix. Let me see if I could play this CNN. Here we go. Right here. Oh, that's the original Kuwait mix. Here it goes. Fair use, YouTube.
LA, big city of dreams, but everything in LA ain't always what it seems. You might get fooled if you come from out of town, cause we coming from Queens, it gets down. LA.
That was the response to Snoop. We're talking about fucking classics. Remember when Jay-Z said, because Prodigy dissed Jay-Z after he said this. He said, New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and knocked the buildings. And Prodigy took offense to that. And nigga, what you saying? New York's been soft. Nigga, we Mobb Deep. We ain't soft. And you know Mobb Deep, they really, they couldn't really go against Jay because Jay was so big. But Jay had Prodigy winning Jay. But then they showed Prodigy. Jay-Z went and got some pictures of Prodigy in like a ballerina or something like that. I don't know. It was some dance class. I don't know what it was. So that kind of hurt the Mobb Deep's credibility a little bit. But no, Prodigy went to Jay-Z after he said that. He was kind of calling out Jay-Z like, nigga, you cooning a little bit. Marley Marl did Screwball. You may not remember Screwball. I do. Screwball was a group that was on Tommy Boy Records that came out in 2000. They had Big Noid on there. Big Noid is, he was a Mobb Deep affiliate. Nature, Mobb Deep, MC Shan, Cormega, all the Queensbridge niggas. MOP. You know what I'm saying? These dudes, they were on this record called Land Speed and Tommy Boy. This was recorded like in 97, 99. Screwball. If you go to one of them old Source magazines, you'll see Screwball. Primo made beats, Marley Marl, Biz Marquee, Pete Rock. You know what I'm saying? It's called Screwball. They had a couple cuts. You got to think, they got some heavy hitters doing the beats, bro. You got Marley Marl, Biz Marquee, Pete Rock, Primo. Come on, bro. You ain't just going to get no Primo beat like that. Pete Rock ain't just going to just give you a beat. You dig? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Marley Marl, he, Sauce Money. Remember, Sauce Money used to work with Jay-Z. I think he used to ghostwrite for Jay-Z. You remember Sauce Money? Do you remember Sauce Money?
I've heard of the name.
Okay, let me play this for you real quick. I hope I don't get a copyright strike. But I want to play this. Bring It On. Do you remember this? This was a cold beat right here. Primo made this on. Now this is the reason why Jay-Z wanted his masters for Reasonable Doubt, because this is your first album. This your baby.
You first rack them up, man. What you betting, bitch? Bet the same thing.
I want my pockets green like Slim Change, you know what I'm saying? Front the road, we roll back like rubbers, motherfucker. For real, with no trace of age, we keep our Brooklyn to Beijing, East Coast host is hostile, colossal money flaring like nostrils for drug dealing apostles.
Man, Sauce Money wasn't no joke. He was from Brooklyn. I'm not sure if he had fell out with Jay-Z or whatever like that, but if you know about Sauce Money, see, you know me, I'm a real hip-hop historian. Sauce Money wasn't nothing to be played with. He came out with an album in 2000 called Middle Finger You. You had DJ Clark Kent. Now, what did DJ Clark Kent made? DJ Clark Kent was from Brooklyn. Now, Clark Kent, let me tell you what Clark Kent did. He did stuff with LV, Das Effects, Jay-Z, Junior Mafia, Silk, Mike Geronimo, Chris Cross, Dougie Fresh, Jay-Z, Memphis Bleak, The Fugees, Biggie, Lost Boys, Rakim, Ice Cube, Charlie Baltimore. That song, Lord Tariq and Peter Guns, that second song. Queen Latifah, Cannabis, Keith Sweat, Shaquille O'Neal, A+, Saphir, City High, Mariah Carey, 50 Cent, Freddie Fox, K-Slay, Redman, Rick Ross, Lil Pump. Man, Clark Kent ain't no joke. He had Clark Kent. And Sean Combs was on it. Yeah, that beat right there that I just played you at first, I hope I don't get a copyright strike, but that Sauce Money had bars. He was a ghostwriter. Did a lot of stuff on, he probably wrote for Jay-Z, to be quite honest with you. Actually, you know what? Did you know that he was the co-writer for Puff Daddy's I'll Be Missing You with Faith Evans? You remember that I'll Be Missing You? He wrote that shit. He was also on Reservoir Dogs with the Lox and Beanie Siegel on Hard Knock Life. So, yeah, Sauce Money wasn't nothing to be played with. Sauce Money wasn't nothing to be... He just had one album. Yeah, he just had one album. But going back to... Anyway, Marley Marl, we were talking about... Let me go back because I'm on Wikipedia now. So, yeah, Dame Grease, you know, he did the Harlem World album. He did Ghetto Prisoners with Nas I Am. Slick Rick, The Art of Storytelling. That was a good album. You liked that album. That was a really good album. You remember that song he had with Outkast? Outkast and Slick Rick made some beautiful music.
Outkast, Slick Rick is on this jam.
Man, they made some classical music.
The Art of Storytelling.
The Art of Storytelling, man. Street Talking, that shit was, even the one he did with Nas, Slick Rick had, you know, Made Men, your boy Benzino. He made a bunch of songs on Nas Nostradamus. He actually did one beat on Sex, Drugs, and Entertainment with Cam, which was featuring Jim Jones. It was a song called My Hood.
He did for Made Men, you know, those guys, they set the world on fire in the early 2000s.
Well, they had a couple songs. They didn't go platinum or nothing, but they were known. And you know,
they locked down the whole Boston area.
Yeah, they got Boston, the whole Boston. They had Boston on lock. Oh, he did something for Eve, Mary J. Blige, No More Drama. That was a big album. K-Slay, Yuck Mouth. He did 3 songs on the Yuck Mouth Godzilla album. I remember I bought that. That was pretty good. LL Cool J, Funkmaster Flex, more songs with DMX, Freeway, Hell Rel, T.I., Styles P, Sheek Luge. A lot of stuff for Max B. Started working with Max B even more. He did a lot of stuff for Max B. Papoose, Raekwon, Master Killer, Method Man. Man, Dame Grease is a legend, bro. That's what I'm saying. Max B made a lot of beats for Max B. Max B, it wasn't no damn slouch. You just probably didn't listen to him around that time, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't on BET and stuff like that. But you go to New York, they playing Max B, bro. Put it like this. They playing Max B in New York like how up here they were playing Lil Boosie and the Hot Boys and stuff. I'm talking about the streets. I'm not talking about that commercial bullshit where you can just go to Target. I'm talking about when you go over North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis and East Side St. Paul, they not playing Eminem. Nobody's playing Eminem. I've never heard Eminem come out of a damn car in my life. When I go to North Minneapolis, they playing Jim Jones. No. Jim Jones, we talking about a rapper. Yeah, Redneck Rambler saying, is this that crazy preacher dude? You know, there was a crazy preacher dude. You know, basically, man, he rounded up a bunch of black folks, got them got them to get down to somewhere in South America, and he poisoned a bunch of people. Everybody committed suicide. Straight psychopath. It was crazy. Auntie Tina is in the room. Yeah, so Max B, man, Max B, he was a classic. He was a class act, and he'll be coming home soon. But anyway, we called this title "Bad Table Manners." Now you're still holding on to the idea. Now I was talking to you earlier. I said, man, Little Flip was the one. That's one of your favorite artists. You used to say, hey man, you used to call me up and say, hey, this is one of the hottest verses. Lil Flip was the one that came up with the lyric about bad table manners. And you're trying to say that kids that listen to the song would actually have bad table manners. I don't understand the correlation of listening to a song. The song's not about bad table manners. He just mentioned something about bad, when he says David Banner table manners, he rhymed.
David Banner. I'm going to be with David Banner, a thug ass nigga with bad table manners.
You know what's worse?
What the fuck? Huh?
You know what's worse? And this was your favorite. I want you to hold this one. The worst ones, he says, don't you like them old lying assholes fronting wearing their best friend's clothes? I suppose they like the way me and Banner pimp. You could see me in the restaurant eating eating steak and shrimp. That was one of your favorite lines. Yeah. That was one of your favorite bars.
When I was young and dumb. Now I see the connotations of that, and I go to restaurants and you see these kids that don't know how to act at the dinner table. So you put one and one together. Is that simple?
They didn't hear that song. They didn't listen to that and start getting bad table manners. When you're a kid, your parents, they're not going to let you have no bad table manners. You're saying they at the restaurant.
I don't know where it's, I mean, that is one of the most divisive songs that you'll ever hear, man.
Absolutely not. They ran out the Klan. They tore up the Confederate flag. I mean, dude.
Polluted a lot of kids.
No, they did not, man. There wasn't no kids listening to that song really doing anything, man. That song wasn't like if anything, it was a big song, but it was almost like underground. I mean, it was big, but now when you get back to your boy that's promoting gang violence on the Breakfast Club.
Who's that?
And you keep saying he's not a gang member. You're very trusted friend Jimmy.
Jimmy's not a gang member. But let's get back to David Banner. Okay, so David Banner, Like a Pimp, is the name of that song. What is he doing that's like a pimp?
He's pimping his pen.
What is that?
His pen. He's pimping his pen. He's saying, hey, I'm gonna pimp this industry. I'm gonna make this money like a pimp. And you,
that's very Martin Luther Banner. Mr. Positivity. Why doesn't somebody call him out on that shit? I wish I could interview him.
He doesn't make music like that anymore, but your boy is still riding around.
The damage is already done, bro.
So you're going to say bad table manners is more damage than a man that's still talking about running around with the Bloods in New York? Do you know how many kids got killed in Rikers Island right now?
Everybody knows that Jimmy's slow. Okay, everybody knows that. He's
no excuse. No excuse.
No, but David Banner has to own up for the fact that there's how many generations of kids over the age of 35, 36 years old that don't know how to act at the dinner table, and they have to look at him.
Oh my goodness. So now we go to a steakhouse. So what you're saying that this album came out in 2003. Now we're about 40 years old. You're about 40 years old. So with the math that you're using right now, you're trying to falsely mathematically equate to anybody over the age of 30 years old that would have bad table manners by listening to this song?
Yes.
There's nobody that's of that age with bad table manners.
No, there's plenty. I've seen them just today. There's plenty, buddy.
They don't know who that song is. They're over 30. They don't know who that song is.
Go to the Wendy's on Lake Street. Go there, see how many people don't even clean their table off. They leave their tray sitting right there. Come on, man. You got to think, bro. I notice shit like that.
Wow,
I'm
that's
starting to
that.
see
You know,
certain things
I
you
you know,
tied
when we
together.
were kids, my dad wouldn't allow me. You know, we were kids and stuff, and this is before Like a Pimp, so we're not gonna take credit for that. I was not allowed to have bad table manners. Now I did see some
Yeah.
bad table manners when I was a kid. Now Like a Pimp wasn't out. What
Guess
92,
what?
93.
And guess what? When them bad table manners came, they were checked.
Right.
So
They were
Ed Pearson
checked.
wasn't having that shit.
No, I
Yeah, but
couldn't
that's
have
a
my
big
elbows on
thing.
the
How to
table.
act at the dinner table is a real big thing. You know,
But what
and you
about
got
this piece here? What about the don't you hate
David
them
Banner,
old?
Martin Luther Banner.
What about the don't you hate them old lying ass hoes fronting wearing her best friend's clothes? I suppose. What do you got to say about that?
You know, I mean, he just
He's making fun of a woman that's wearing her best friend's clothes. Would you
yeah.
date a woman that's wearing her best friend's clothes?
Would you date a guy would you let your daughter date a guy with a 360 deal? I mean, would you let your daughter date a guy
Uh,
and be burping at the dinner table and he be smacking his mouth and talking with a mouthful of food? So
man, almost there. When have
being
you
rude
not?
to the waiter. I mean, come on, man. So you tell me, shit. Somebody with bad fucking table manners will ruin a meal, ruin a dinner, whole lot of shit, man.
Oh
I
shit!
used to go with this one Mexican girl. We used to go to the movies. She was kind of chubby. I wouldn't say she was big, but she was a little, she was a little
Right.
hefty, a little bit. And this girl, man, she'd get her a large thing of popcorn, man, and just dig her hands in that motherfucker. And just stuff all the popcorn in her mouth. I was like, there ain't no rush to eat this. This movie's 2 hours long. Popcorn ain't going nowhere, honey. You can take your time and eat it. She just said, I just really like it. I said, okay, you look at David Banner when you think of shit like that. That's the first thing that pops into my head is that song.
Do you think now if you
Will
asked her,
Smith
is
is
she
just
wearing
a
her best
fool.
friend's
Is Will
clothes?
Smith alive?
Do
I think he might have died, didn't he?
who?
Lil Flip.
No, hell no, man. Lil Flip still be coming up here every now and then, man. Lil Flip,
Doing what?
he'll do a show.
Last show.
Yes.
What?
You're laughing. You're laughing. Let me tell you something, bro. This is something you don't know. And this is when you were talking about doing management. This is why I told you. I said, look, bro,
Lil Flip.
these old rappers that came up like like Flip and dudes like that, man, they could go out to like not grand rappers. They could go out to fucking Treasure Island and they could go to places like that, and people, even Soldier Boy, folks want to see them, bro. They don't have to come in. If they come in the city, people gonna be trying to, undercut them. But they could go out to some of these little redneck, hills have eyes ass towns, you know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be some young white kids, even kids, even people our age might want to go and see it because you got to think, I never got a chance to go to a David Banner or a Flip performance. They said that Busta Rhymes, Big Crit, J Rock, Gangsta Gibbs, David Banner, they have the best live performances, they said, in the world.
Man,
They said
come on, man.
DMX.
What
Yes.
did I just hear? Did you just say that?
Yes, they do.
You're gonna try to slickly throw in Gibbs. You're just
Man,
gonna throw
Gibbs
him
has
in there.
Gibbs
Yeah,
has.
right.
Let me tell you, how many rappers
Did
know?
you say Little Flip has one of the greatest live shows?
No, not Flip. I said Busta, Rock, Gibbs.
Okay.
This is a known thing. This is a known thing.
You said?
Who?
You said who? You said Busta and then who?
Busta, Banner. People, I've heard people
Banner.
tell me this.
Come on,
Banner has a great
fell out
performance.
the Target Center, man. At no point in his career
Not a
could
Target
he have
Center. I
been
said
the headline
performance.
act.
Man, there's a lot of people that can sell out the Target Center that don't got a good performance. This is what they'll do. They'll get up there, they'll sip on a little lean, and they'll let the crowd just chant. I'm talking about dudes that'll give a performance.
Yeah, but you got to be good to get the crowd to go in there.
Not true.
Who are they going to see?
Okay, well,
then by definition, David Banner couldn't draw flies with a mouthful of shit.
Then by definition, your very favorite NBA young boy, he's very talented because that man can fill in the arena, and you said he's garbage. So where do we go from there? Do we move the goalposts? You move the goalposts a lot.
I'm telling you, brother, idiots and fools and dumbasses have formed a clique in a nation, in an organization where they can come to 40,000, 30,000 seat arenas. That's all that was. A NBA YoungBoy concert and show is just a reunion of dumb motherfuckers in the area.
Okay, but the thing is, to go to that show, you gonna pay damn near $70 to $100. You said,
and guess what? I bet you the next NBA YoungBoy show, out of every 100 people you see, 85 of them are gonna be white.
Well, whether or not a sale is a sale, like you said, units. You're a units man. Then this is what you do. When I start hitting you with the numbers, then you start talking about lyricism, and then you go back and forth. Every time I corner you, you go back and forth. And then with NBA YoungBoy, you said, well, you got to be good to fill an arena. He's not a great artist, but he fills an arena. So what do we do with that?
Paying to go there though. It don't matter.
Does it matter?
Dumb motherfucking idiots stoned out of their mind off of pills and shit.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it matters. It matters a whole lot who the clientele is, buddy.
Well, it seems to me that the Target Center loves it.
I'm at Murray Steakhouse. You're at White Castle. There's a big difference. They filled it up. White Castle's full with people. So Murray Steakhouse is where it's at.
You just made the claim that you got to be good to fill up an arena. And I told you somebody that can fill it up, and now you're saying it's a bunch of dumb people buying the tickets. So are we trying to sell records, or are we trying to talk about whether it's good?
These are not hip-hop connoisseur fans.
Oh, here he goes again. Here he goes again. What? BL Shorty, what's happening? You see what he's doing? Now he moves the goalpost again. Okay, I'm going to give you another person.
I already scored a touchdown. You talking about moving the goalpost. I didn't score.
Oh, this nigga here.
Chopping you up for damn near 2 hours. Hibachi. Just chopping you up. Sauteing you.
Here's another chop. Now you really this is the grand finale. We got 20 minutes left. This is another chop. And you know I got federal. I went and got all the citations. And this is another chop. Now this one I'm gonna be ready for this one. Cause you know me. I got the paperwork.
Chopping you up for the last 35 years.
You said when I told you, based on the Supreme Court, you cannot say African or black when it comes to foundational blacks getting reparations. You said, well, everybody that's black got to get reparations. And I told you, I said the Supreme Court's already struck it down by the Fearless Fund. There was this black woman that basically was trying to get a grant. They had this little, you know how they do with the little people of color, and they included people of color. Niggas always want to include people of color. It just can't be black. But they struck it down. There was an Ed Blum. And let me tell you something about Ed Blum. Ed Blum is a suspected race soldier that basically said, hey, I'm white. I'm going to use the 14th Amendment against you niggas. And he sued and he won. And my thing is, we don't have one halfway damn good black lawyer in this damn country. I wish we had a black Ed Blum. I sure wish we had a Blum or a Donald that would fight for us like how they fight for white folks. And so now I say, just like the Native American tribes, it has to be lineage-based reparations because you can't say African and black. And you said, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, the Supreme Court says it. That the Supreme Court, let me pull it up right now. The Supreme Court says you can't say black.
Yeah, well,
here's the report.
Go ahead. Read it.
Hold on. All right. So this is what I found out. This is from AI. Introduction.
Hold on. Before you even go any further, what is this AI shit? Why is this so fucking, just because AI said it, that means that's fucking gold? Who the fuck is AI? Who is that? Allen Iverson?
Okay. All right, we gotta take
and
a step
AI
back.
Is always agreeing with you?
No.
Always agreeing with what you say?
No, it's not. No. It's not agreeing.
Bring up AI when I'm right. Shit.
The AI asked me something. I asked
chopping you up. Did AI tell you that I've been chopping you up for 2 hours? It didn't tell you that.
Okay, like remember what I was explaining to you? Remember I was explaining to you when you were like, okay, what's DEI? And
I don't
and
know
you were
what
like,
that is.
okay, basically, this is what DEI is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's like a new advanced affirmative action. So basically, affirmative action was supposed to be based for blacks, and then you had LGBT and humpbacks and everybody else got a piece of it. This is after the 60s. So niggas ain't getting nothing. Niggas get 2%. You might get like a ham sandwich. They'll give you a haircut and an abortion or some bullshit. That's what they'll get a niggas. Okay, so now DEI I noticed it start going on because I was in a corporate environment. Now, y'all, anybody listen to us live, I think I'm probably going to extend and send him another. Right now, what is it, 11 o'clock? We got 20 minutes. So I think we might do another live, you know what I'm saying, for like another hour or whatever. They give us 2 hour max. So anyway, y'all could tune back in. I think I'm going to send him another link so we keep it going. Anyway, so now DEI is called diversity and inclusion. Now, the way that they word it, it sounds good. Like, oh, let's divert some money over here. But when you divert, that means you take something from something else. But then they say include. So it's almost like saying, hey, let's have a cheeseburger without a cheese. Oh, can I get a cheeseburger with no cheese, with extra cheese, with no cheese? And you're going to be like, what? You know what I'm saying? So it's basically affirmative action where primarily the people, and it is from the Department of Labor. This ain't me talking. The most people that benefit from it is white women. And then LGBT and immigrants and then Negroes. You know what I'm saying? That's basically exactly what it is. So now, what they've done is during the George Floyd riot or uprising, when he was lynched on 38th in Chicago, all of these companies start talking about, these needful Negroes. Oh, they need our help. We want to be on the right side of history. Let's give them a couple of crumbs here and there. And under the guise, what they did is they sent out Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and all the boule, butter biscuit, bootlick ass niggas that, might do a little something for us here and there. And then they sent them out. Then they start hiring for DEI positions. Now, here's the flip side of it. They basically use black pain where they could just, it's all these positions. If you ask somebody, what is a DEI consultant, they're not going to be able to tell you. Basically, you're the Negro that minds the store. You're the Chicken George ass nigga at work where, and no disrespect to Chicken George, but you the Chicken George ass nigga at work where if there's some racial shit going on, they basically gonna tell you, hey, the white folks is saying some bogus shit, and we need you Negroes to go and smooth it out. Or, it's Pride Week, and, so you might have something like Juneteenth, or you might have anything, and then they'll so basically, this is what they did. Now, here's the flip side. DEI, if you get hired for a job, and this is sometimes what the conservatives will say, oh, well, he didn't do a good job, the whole house fell over. Oh, it was a DEI hire. Oh, the plane fell out of the air. Oh, that's a DEI. But now, if there's a bunch of white women that benefits it the most, if they're flying the plane and they crash the plane, now they're DEI. Oh, that was a DEI hire. And so now, a lot of black folks were squawking, like you had Jesse Jackson and all these old preacher ass clergy niggas complaining, oh, well, I ain't gonna be able to ride my Cadillac. If the DEI gets stripped out from Target, that means I ain't gonna get no money from the church here. You got a bunch of Negroes like that. You see what I'm saying? So the DEI cancellation affects some of the step-infected ass Negroes that tell you to show up to church, abort your babies, and vote for Collard Green Harris. Miss 20 acres and a mule. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you hear like the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons and the Jamals, like that one nigga that got ran out of, that one Negro that got ran out of Baltimore, what's his name, Jamal something? He got ran out of Baltimore and he was telling Cam Newton he got sexy legs and all that. Negroes like that. The Divine Nine and all them Kamala Harris type of them Obama Barack niggas. You know what I'm saying? those kind of Negroes, a lot of those the NAACP ass type of niggas, and the whole we're so high classed, and we have the best, we know what's best for black people, and just vote Democrat, and if you don't, oh, the boogeyman's coming, and you're like, okay, what are we gonna get? Oh, well, you could have a haircut and abortion and DI, and you're kind of like, okay, nigga, no, I want some reparations, let me get some money. Oh, we can't do that. That whole DEI thing, it affects, once it started affecting, white women, which were the sole beneficiaries, they started attacking it. So when they start stripping it, who's the beneficiaries of DEI? The beneficiaries is primarily white women, LGBT, and immigrants. And now since Donald is sending some of these folks back home, all of these, like the protections, see, it's supposed to be equal protection of the law and all that kind of stuff. 14th Amendment, that was supposed to be for my great-great-great-grandparents. That's why that was created. If you really truly look at DEI, and if you were to peel back the layers, and if you get a real constitutional lawyer that looks at it and says, all right, DP, who is the 14th Amendment really for? And why did you have to have all these amendments? You had all these amendments because they kept kind of undermining black folks. Black folks was like, hey, we supposed to be free. They were like, no, nigga, you ain't free. Okay, let's go back to court. That's what the 14th Amendment was for, children of slaves. So now all these other people are getting unearned benefits from it, and they're squawking and saying, well, hey, I'm supposed to benefit from that. And for the first time in history, black folks is like, no, nigga, you ain't supposed to get that. I mean, you've been getting it because we ain't really said nothing, but when we look at it like, damn, we don't get shit, and y'all get it. So if you look at the constitutional, there's no grounds for DEI. It's based off affirmative action. And black folks ain't benefited off affirmative action in probably like 50 years. You get some folks be like, well, they getting EBT, and this nigga sitting around here smoking a blunt over on Penn Avenue and Queens or Plymouth Avenue. Yeah, that's crumbs. That you ain't really getting nothing. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I was trying to tell you about the whole. It's affirmative action on steroids, but it's passed around. They make it look like it's something. It's not really nothing. So when you hear, anytime you hear a black person, primarily, if you hear them talking about, man, don't go shop at Target. Well, let me show y'all something real quick. Let me bust y'all's bubble. Because I know y'all probably heard about that bullshit that was going on in Essence. They pretty much stripped the Black American heritage out of it. They made it a LGBT festival to a certain degree. Well, here's something from NOLA, New Orleans. I went down there a couple years ago. The president, this is what he said. Let me go back. You had Lauryn Hill, and I'll break it down on my other channel real heavy tomorrow. But the executive vice chairman spoke on some issues, saying we're listening to everything. What it was is they didn't think that it would be the big blowback that it was. You had primarily Black Americans that basically was getting on folks' ass, saying, "Wait a minute, the CEO is some chick from Kenya." And see, what the first thing they tried to do, it didn't work. They tried to say, oh, these Black Americans are mad, they're xenophobic. I ain't never heard no Black American ever use that term, xenophobic. That's some LGBT intersectional talk. We don't use that term. We say white supremacy or nothing. Xenophobic, what the fuck is that? That's that minority people of color bullshit. I ain't never heard that when I was coming up. So they tried to use that. That didn't work. You had Lauryn Hill. You had 3 or 4 prominent artists who was like, wait a minute, man. This shit's running janky as hell. Y'all disrespected the hell out of us. Y'all ran this like a damn pigsty. All of us had issues. And you had India Arie years ago. They were calling her out, saying that she's anti-feminist and all that. And all this, you know me, that feminist shit, that was a propaganda piece. That was engineered. They got a lot of black women into that. We'll get into that in another moment. But India Arie, neo soul legend, called it out. She said, man, Essence is getting ratchet as hell. It's getting real ratchet. It's getting unprofessional. Y'all need to do something about this. She called that out years ago. And now it's come to head. So you have a lot of people that are now in charge that do not come from the killing fields of the American South. So they don't really give a fuck about our heritage and about our great-great-grandparents. So the attitude is basically like, okay, let's just put some old pigsty, some little bullshit festival together. And black folks got tired of these little LGBT talking points, and they weren't really representing the essence of Essence. People started coming up there recently. A lot of vendors, they had a situation, man, where they blocked a black bookstore from New Orleans coming up there. Oh, they took fire from that. That was a big thing down there. They got their ass chewed up for that. And now it's finally coming to a head. So a lot of black folks now, they're not really going. And the black folks that went were like, okay, it ain't never been like this. Who the hell's in charge? You start looking up these folks' paperwork and who they are. And you're like, okay, y'all don't come from our culture. Because you wouldn't have ran it like that. So, you know, when your artists, see, that's a problem. When you have a brand like Essence has been around, let's do a little history. It was founded by black men to uplift black women. A lot of people don't know that. They probably think, well, Essence was founded by women. No, it wasn't. It was founded by some black American brothers that wanted to put sisters on the pedestal and show love and respect to our sisters. And from the 80s, you had a sister that she wasn't a Freeman. She was from the Caribbean, but she represented as well. Her name was Taylor. Her last name was Taylor. I think Susan Taylor. She ran it from the 80s. So this whole thing about, well, it's xenophobic. You just don't like West Africans. That's why that's all falling to pieces now, because one of the people that was running it, she was from the Caribbean. She was from the islands, and she ran that shit with an iron fist. Represented us good to a certain extent here. Nobody had, you could look online all through, you could see black women, you could look online all day and they're like, man, we like it when Susan was running it because she respected our heritage. She was born in Harlem. So she came up during a time where you couldn't really be no tap dancing nigga in the 60s. That was a revolutionary time. You remember what was going on in the 60s, bro? Niggas was putting in work, the Panthers and Malcolm and King, and you know, you had the Deacons of Defense, you know, Medgar Evers, you know, so you couldn't be in Harlem and just be a outspoken, you couldn't just be a upfront tap dancing coon in front of Harlem. You couldn't do that. You couldn't get away with that. Not without somebody checking you and pulling you to the side like, nigga, what you think you doing? You couldn't really do that. So she ran Essence, and then the white folks got it. Time Magazine, Time Incorporated, they got it, you know, and then it got back into black hands. But the hands that it's in now, you know, a lot of black folks are really upset. Now, let me tell you where Sharpton was lying. He said that they were going to cut back in DEI. So Target basically gave Essence a bag. They get these sponsorships. And they had a contract. Now, we don't know what the contract was. But folks was mad, you know, all these, you know, a lot of these Democrat Negroes, and I'm not neither. But a lot of them, a lot of black folks been boycotting Target, which in fact, Target has a lot of black businesses. So it's some dumbass shit. Because Al Sharpton and all these old preacher niggas done told them to do it. We'll come to find out, you know, and I don't agree with what the owners of Essence are doing, but I found some truth to power here. They were talking about the Target boycott's been going on a while. DEI budgets, it says brands are cutting back on DEI budgets like Ford. And it says, I'll name them because I'm not going to allow them to go hide. Then there are other markets. It says, then there are others in the market who are taking credit like Costco. I've never seen a program that they put together to support my community. I'm not saying they haven't done it. I haven't seen it yet, but they still get the benefit. So all these stepping, fetching, old Sambo, tooth grinning ass, slick back clergy, preach Christian ass niggas like Jesse Jackson and Sharpton and all these old preacher ass niggas that ain't never got no answers but always want you to show up for a fish fry so they can ride around in their Cadillac. What they've been telling you to do is where to spend your money, and come to find out, Target put bread up for Essence. They did not cut back the money because they're under contract. This is the guy I'm talking about. This is the chairman right here. This is the CEO. Somebody says, are you saying Target is invested in the black community? He says, from where I sit and from what I know in my own lived experience with having invested in over 20 different businesses that I do business at Target, it today has not pulled back any of the commitments that it has made to those businesses. Not what I've seen. There was a commitment that said they were going to invest or spend $2 billion with black-owned businesses over a 5-year period from when they made it to 2025. I know that for a fact. So if you look at this article on NOLA, Essence is under contract. So Target did not pull back DEI funds for Essence. Al Sharpton said they pulled all the money back. Al Sharpton, you old slick back FBI informant ass nigga, you need to tell us why you said that. And see, that's coming from that crowd of the 94 crime bill. Well, y'all need to pull your pants up, and if you do the crime, you need to do the time. Al Sharpton ain't did no damn time. That nigga was working with the mafia, doing dope deals and all kind of shit. He done got caught funneling money under his, hundreds of thousands of dollars funding money, but he ain't never did no time. Has any black person asked that question beside my podcast? Why hasn't that nigga ever did time?
He told he's a rat.
Okay, so what's a rat?
On a bigger fish.
See, this is what Jesse and Sharpton have been able to do. And Benjamin Crump, they done got Benjamin Crump, the CEO for Target, is a high board member. Yes, the CEO for Target and this lady from Kenya, this Wanga lady, which they say she got a white wife. Oh Lord, she was an executive at Target. So let me get this straight. You got DEI Negroes talking about, well, we need to step away from Target, and Target is cashing out these DEI niggas. Is that what's going on? Target is cashing these Negroes out, and you got Negroes talking about, well, you need to spend with Costco. Why? So you could get a little bag, Sharpton?
Well, it didn't go over well when he tried that.
You remember that white dude that pulled up on him in New York and said, hey, illegal immigration is hurting foundational blacks. You had some nigga in the crowd, man, no it ain't. Dr. Claude Anderson has already done the study. It's been a lot of people that's already done the study for that. It's not that black folks necessarily hate the illegals themselves. We're saying this system right here that y'all put in place, they're not locking up these wealthy whites that own these farms. They're supposed to be getting RICOs like Diddy. These dudes is probably running around, maybe having freak-offs with a lot of the Mexican women. On them, ain't bullshit. They probably having freak-offs.
These owners, these like farms and warehouses. You got to understand,
It's supposed to be a RICO. It's supposed to be a RICO.
Yeah,
that's harboring fugitives.
Because they're not that stupid. They're not gonna just bring somebody and be like, "Oh, I know you're illegal." They're gonna make them come with a fake social security card, fake ID. Let me take a picture of it. And the reason I'm doing that is I know that's not you. You know that's not you, and I know that's not you. But guess what I know? When the police come bang on me, here it is. I didn't know it was fake. Oh, wait, really? That's not really them? Oh, I got 20 illegals. Just the other day, I'm watching on YouTube. 20 illegals got arrested from this fucking warehouse And the white dude that owns the place is like, really? They all gave me fake IDs. I didn't know that. Oh my God.
But if it would have been me or you,
it's to cover your base.
you
It
would
would have been harder though. If it was me or you and we had that kind of money, and you own farms and shit, you would have covered your tracks. That's
we
all that
niggas.
is. That's why there's no RICO.
Me and you would have been sitting up
Fact
in the
is fact.
federal. Me and you would have been sitting in the federal
Yeah.
facility in downtown
course.
Minneapolis tonight. If we
Well.
was black doing that same shit, they would have had us in man. Okay, so
Well,
look,
that's the way it is.
it's gonna end. Look, this gonna end in 2 minutes. We can continue the convo, or we can have people wait. What you think? Should we have them wait
It's up
for a
to
little
you.
bit?
It's up to you,
Let's
brother.
Let's have them wait. Hey, everybody listening tonight, man, y'all go ahead and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? I got the YouTube Bagland podcast. Y'all go ahead and spread the word. We're going to be spitting fire. We're going to do it again. We're going to continue the conversation. I appreciate everybody, but no, yeah, we going to stay on their heels. We got to protect the culture, man. We got to protect the damn culture. It's just got to happen. It's unfortunate, but we got to check our cousins. And these Sambo niggas is pulling this shit off. If y'all don't fix this, yeah, you ain't going to have Essence next year. Because you got some legendary artists and some, you got to think, people go to Essence. They've been doing this for 20 years. Some people been doing this. So that xenophobic thing ain't going to work. Oh, well, you don't like Africans being there. No. That ain't going to work. Because we had a Caribbean sister that was on code. She was making shit happen. But when they start having all them buck dancing, them buck broken Negroes, when they start doing that, and when they start doing that buck breaking, black folks start asking questions like, okay, where is this coming from? But they're getting that corporate sponsorship from Target and stuff. And Target, they just, they got an agenda, man. And we're not standing for it. We're not staying. You see what happened this year with Essence. We can make that happen again. Y'all ain't gonna have no Essence if y'all keep this up. We ain't gonna have it. Because we can keep on doing this.
Here's the thing. That's great. That blacks are staying home and it affected the election and it affected the Essence. But at the end of the day, when is that staying home going to affect change?
That is change. That's letting people know that.
When